Okay, I'm Jessica from Ferris State University, admissions representative here. I have a few students with me today and we're going to answer some of Ferris's frequently asked questions. If you have any questions for us, feel free to type those up and we will get those answered while we're answering these ones as well. First thing I'm going to do is go ahead and have the students introduce themselves. The first student that we have, this just tells you a little bit about the Ferris State panel. Like I said, current students, so we're going to go ahead and introduce them. The first one is Nicole.
Hi everybody, my name is Nicole. In the fall I'll be starting my graduate program in optometry and I'm originally from Reed City, Michigan.
Hello everyone, my name is Bailey. I'm a senior in the accounting program here at Ferris and I'm from Alpena, Michigan.
Hi everyone, my name is Liz. This is my 4th year here at Ferris. I'm from Chesterfield, Michigan and my major is Healthcare Systems Administration.
Okay, so this slide will show you how to contact us if you have any additional questions after today. We're going to go through a list of questions that we have here. Again, if you have any of your own, please type them up in the chat box and we will be sure to answer those in between our own questions. So we'll start with the first one. The first one that we have is, what can an incoming student do to ease the transition from high school to college? And we're going to go ahead and start right here with Nicole.
I would say just be prepared to study. College is a lot different than high school. You actually need to do your homework. You don't have a teacher that's always hounding you and like, oh, you need to turn this in, you need to turn that in. But it is really important to keep up with your studies. So just keep that in mind, and as long as you have a mindset that, oh, I'm going to need to study in college, then you should do fine.
Okay, awesome, Nicole. What about you, Bailey?
I would say if you have any friends who have gone to college, or if you're able to get out and take tours, that's definitely the best way to get an idea of how big the campus is, where your classes might be, the residence halls, things like that, so that way when you come in you're not completely blindsided and overwhelmed.
All right, and Liz?
I would just suggest that when you first get the information for your roommate, you contact them, maybe reach out. Good way to build relationships right off the bat, right before you even get to campus, and like Bailey said, meet new people. It's what college is about, getting to know people and really networking, so it's a great way to start off your college experience, right?
All right, thanks guys. And then to transition to the next question, it kind of has to do with how you guys made friends. So what are some of the things that you did to make sure that you were meeting new people on campus?
Okay, my biggest thing is just to get involved. So whether you're involved with an organization that relates to your major, or like a social organization, or maybe like a service-related organization, by getting involved with those, you're going to meet all kinds of people, or even just something as simple as saying hi to the person that sits next to you in class. I've made a lot of friends that way who ended up being like my study buddies throughout school and just stuff like that. So maybe just saying hi to that person next to you and joining organizations.
All right.
I would say if you're fortunate enough to live in the residence halls, to keep your door open when you're passing through classes. You'd be surprised how many people you end up being and staying very close friends with who live in the residence halls just because you popped in to say hi one time because you smelled popcorn or whatever it might be. You'll end up making really good friends with these people, watching TV with them, sports channels, whatever it might be, and they usually end up being friends throughout your entire college career.
And kind of piggybacking off what Bailey said, if you are in the residence hall, it's a really great opportunity because you also have the resource of someone called the resident advisor, or the RA. And if you're feeling like you want to meet some new people, you're kind of shy, you're not really sure how to step out of your comfort zone, that's a great person to go to if you're kind of hesitant to meet new people, because they'll connect you with people who might like the same things as you. They might know, oh, well, Amanda down the hallway, she loves to paint her nails purple and green and yellow just like you do. So maybe your RA can be that kind of go-between between you and meeting other people in your hall or even around campus. They might even know organizations that you might like. So if you like to knit, we have a Crafters Anonymous. They can show you when and where they meet. So definitely use that resource in the hall because they'll be a great asset to you.
Awesome. Thank you very much, ladies. So when you got here, what's your favorite part so far about being here in college?
That's a really tough question. I would just say like the whole atmosphere. You get a lot more freedom being in college. You don't have like your mom and dad telling you what to do every day. You kind of get to make some of your own decisions that approach like your adulthood. So I think like that freedom, and then on top of all the stuff you get to do in college, you actually start taking classes that you want to take. You have all the sporting events you can go to, the organizations you can join, just all the stuff going on around campus. It's a lot of fun.
I can kind of add to what Nicole said. Just getting involved as far as I decided to go Greek, and we do a lot for the community. We throw a lot of fundraisers, things like that. It's really nice to give back. It makes you feel good, and as far as being a part of something like that, you have lifelong friends that you're going to have for the rest of your life.
I would say specifically about Ferris is the opportunities that they give us. I think Ferris is really great at kind of having an all-around hands-on experience for the students. And that goes for your classrooms. When you're in the class, you get a lot of hands-on experience, whether it's with a lab or maybe you're in a program that does a lot of projects and presentations. You get that hands-on experience, even trickling down into our organization. So we have a lot of registered student organizations here, and they are student-led. It's not your advisors doing all the work, but you're the president. You're actually there doing the work, whether it's for your accounting association or it's just for something fun like our campus programming board. It's a great opportunity to really build yourself as a leader and as a person. And I think that's awesome that Ferris really gives all of their students that opportunity to do that.
Okay, so it sounds like you guys have great experiences so far with Ferris. What was your biggest fear when you came here? And obviously your experience is about overcame them, but what was your fear?
My biggest fear was not doing well, not getting good grades. I have always been a perfectionist. I wanted to get straight A's in college. That happens for some people, but for the most part, it doesn't happen to everybody. So when you get to college, you just need to make sure that you work hard and you can get those good grades. And that was my biggest fear. So just focusing on good study habits, that helped me overcome that fear, and I've done well since then.
All right.
My biggest fear was feeling overwhelmed, just because before you come to college, you have no clue what to expect. You can hear stories and you can go on tours, but you really don't know until your first day, your first class, whatever that might be. But the nice thing that I really love about Ferris is almost all of the classrooms are the same size as any class that you would have taken in high school, probably about 30 students. So the professors are always really easy to get a hold of. The students are there to help you as well if you want to get together and study together later, whatever it might be. So as long as you know that their resources are there and available for you, then you can succeed.
I guess my biggest fear was just making long-term connections with people. Because in high school, you start off as a freshman and you work your way through and you have the same people in your classes all the time and you meet the same people in the hallways. In college, it's a little bit different because, one year you might have 4 people in the same class and you're in the same major, but they might switch their major or they might transfer to a different university or, they might, take a semester on internship. So, those relationships kind of change a little bit. And that was making me really nervous because I wanted some long-term friendships that I could build. And I got the chance to do that at Ferris. And it was really just about jumping out of my comfort zone and, saying, hey, what are you doing tomorrow night? Let's go grab a bite to eat or watch a movie or, go to the Rock. So, really kind of overcoming my initial fear of talking to people, that was the hardest, but it's proven successful because I have a lot of long-term relationships now, and I still talk to my freshman year roommate. It's my 4th year. I still talk to her now. We're still really close friends, so it's been a great experience.
Awesome. And then to add on to a little bit of what Bailey said, actually our average class size is actually only 23 students, so you really do get a lot of personalized attention from your professors, and that's something that you can't find everywhere that you go. All right, for our next question, we talked a little bit about fears. Now, what surprised you most when you first started college?
I would say how easy it was to get involved. When I was here for my undergrad in pre-optometry, all I did was just go on to our personalized account, so we call it My FSU, and I found information about when the club met, what time, what building, all kinds of stuff, and it was just that easy. I just had to show up to a meeting, and then instantly I had a connection with some people, and I was involved, and that was just super easy, and I thought it was just going to be this big ordeal, and it wasn't. It was just super easy, and so I would say getting involved is a really easy thing to do at Ferris.
I was really surprised that the classes that I took my freshman year weren't as difficult as I thought they were going to be. I remember thinking, oh my gosh, college classes, how am I ever going to get through these? I have no clue how to study, but as long as you make a conscious effort to keep in contact with your professors and the other students in the classroom, you'll do just fine.
I would say I was most surprised by how much the faculty and staff really want the students to succeed. When I came on my tour, I kind of had a taste of that because, everyone was really helpful. They answered all my questions. They just really were focused on what my thoughts were and helping me have my questions answered. But once I got here, I really saw how dedicated the staff and faculty here are. The professors, everyone who works here is just so focused on you as a student succeeding. I mean, I tell this story all the time, but it's even down to like the janitorial staff, because I mean, you'll be in the library studying till like 4 in the morning, let's say, and I mean, this happened to me where the custodian will come up and say, hey, you know, do you want a granola bar? You know, you haven't eaten in like 6 hours, like eat something, you know? So everyone really does care about you, and it sounds cheesy, but I feel like Ferris definitely has that reputation all across the board where everyone's really close and they really want you to succeed as a student. So as much as you put yourself out there to try and succeed, they'll go ahead and return the favor and give you that help back.
Okay, great answers. So let's do a couple questions about like your personal experiences. Where is the best place you think to study on campus?
Okay, my favorite place to study, it's not the library, it's this little corner in the science building, which is where I had a lot of my classes. It's a bench, so I would put my feet up on the bench and lean against the wall and just put headphones in, and it's like I'm in my own little world, and I've gotten so much studying there throughout my time here at Ferris, and I would say that's my favorite spot to study.
I've got a couple places. The third floor of the libraries are all quiet floor. You could hear a pin drop, not kidding, across the whole room. So I usually have to study in a very quiet and very environment, so that works really well for me. But sometimes I have friends who are in some more difficult classes, so they have a difficult time studying too. So we'll all get together, throw some headphones in, and just sit around and study together every hour and a half or so, take a break and mingle, and then get right back to it. So. Friend's house or the library.
Well, apart from the library, like I'd say the 4th floor of the library is a secluded zone. No one really goes up there, so I try and hang out there a lot. But apart from the library, my favorite spot to be would be the business building on the 2nd floor. There's a little study lounge in there for students, so it's a perfect place to go. No one's ever really in there, and if it does get busy, I'd say there's maybe 10 people top, so there's still tons of space for you to get your work done. You can grab a magazine if you want a quick break, so it's a perfect place for me.
Awesome. So you can see there's not just the library for you to study at if you want to. On average, how much of your guys' time do you spend doing homework a week?
During the week with a full course load, I would say I probably spend, on top of the hours that I'm in class, probably like 1 to 2 hours a night, and then plus extra time on the weekends, and that time is greater. If I have like a test coming up, I might spend like the whole night before studying, making sure I still get enough sleep the night before. But I might spend like the whole night studying, and I guess it just kind of varies, but I would say on average like 1 to 2 hours a day.
I would probably mostly agree with Nicole. My biggest problem seems to be putting things off. I highly recommend that you do not do that, because then you're going to pull one of those, oh, I have a test in the next morning. I'm going to be up for 8 hours studying for it. So if you disperse it evenly enough, you'll have plenty of time to study. I'd say 1 to 2 hours a night is plenty.
I would say I study about, on average, an hour a night, depending on my night, just because I'm very, very busy. So during the day, I try and, like, if I have 10 minutes or 15 minutes, I'll go ahead and study then too. But it just varies. Like she said, that when there's an exam coming up, I definitely spend, I try and take the week before to focus on the exam that's coming up the following week. That way I spread it out enough, because I try my best not to get into those situations, but sometimes it happens depending on the course and what's going on. So I'd say about 1 hour a night, if not 2 hours a night.
Okay, awesome. So about similar for all of you. So if you've been doing all your homework and studying, and you're still struggling, what can a student do when that happens? Where can they go if they're struggling with a class?
If you're still struggling, I would say your first bet would be either your professor or students in your class. Like if you have a friend in your class or just somebody where you're like, hey, you're doing a lot better than I am. Do you want to study together? That's one option. Another option would just be to contact your professor. Our professors have at least 4 office hours a week, so there's plenty of time. Even on top of that, they're willing to meet with you if like their office hours don't work with you. So meet with your professor. They can help you, like if you're having a hard time doing a math problem or something like that, they'll meet with you. And then also on top of that, we have the free tutoring center and writing center that students can go to and get tutoring for a class, or if they're writing a paper, they can go in there and they'll help them edit it. They say it'll raise their paper up a grade level, and I found that the tutoring center is really helpful.
Certain majors have associations affiliated with them. Like I know as an accounting student, there's the Accounting Association. I believe they meet every second and fourth Tuesday or Thursday. Off the top of my head, I'm unsure. But if you bring in homework or anything that you're struggling with, they'll do their best to help you as well. And they are students, but they've already passed these classes. So if you bring it in, I find that 9 times out of 10, a student can help me to understand better than a professor can, solely because they've been through it and they know how to explain it to other people through their eyes, rather than a professor being like, well, this is what the textbook says. The student could be like, well, this is how I learned it. So that really helps.
Definitely helpful. I would definitely recommend not only just going to these other sources, but really taking a moment to kind of reflect on how you're studying. Because some students, they're saying they're studying 3 or 4 hours a night, but studying in front of the TV as you're on Facebook while your friend's talking to you on the phone really isn't the best way to study. So I would go ahead and reevaluate how you're studying, and if you needed help with that, we actually have a resource that's in our what's it called? The Academic Support Center, if you go in there, they will give you tests and to help you evaluate how you best learn. It'll give you study tips. It'll teach you about test anxiety. So it'll actually help you out in just more than just you're studying and getting the homework done. So they're very, very helpful. I'd recommend going in there and taking those different tests, because you might not know, oh, well, I learn better by listening rather than seeing. That can help you make a small change that'll really make a lot of difference.
Okay, great. And then to just elaborate on the academic support that we have, the Academic Support Center is free tutoring for you, and you can have 2 hours per class per week. So that's in addition to any studying that you're doing on your own. So it's definitely something free that you want to take advantage of. Some of you mentioned contacting your professors when you're having trouble. Is it easy to contact them? What's been your experience in contacting them for classes and questions?
I would say it's extremely easy. Not only do you have like the professor's office number and their phone number and their office hours. I've had professors give me their cell phone numbers, say, hey, if you have a quick question, just text it to me. Or I have one professor, he just turned 80. He's a sweet little old man, and he gave us his house number and said, hey, call me until like 10 o'clock at night. If it's really important, you can call me after that. And so it's really easy to get in contact with your professors, and usually they're more than willing to work with you.
In addition to meeting them outside of office hours, kind of like Nicole said, we've even had professors offer to meet us outside. Like if I have a group of students that I'm studying with and we're all struggling with the same concept, if there's enough of us, some professors will take time out of their day and actually meet you, sit down, show you what you're doing wrong, explain to you, in addition to their cell phone numbers, some text back. I've even had professors text to cancel class, whatever that might be. So they're really good with the technology, and they really do their best to utilize it.
Yeah, and going along with all of that, I guess the most important thing to note would be to actually go and read the syllabus. So on the first day, they'll hand you the syllabus, and that's the best way to know what works for your professor, because it'll probably say, like in big, bold, words, text me if you have any problems, or call me before 9 p.m., or I check my email every 5 minutes. So, it'll let you know exactly how to contact them and what's the easiest way and what times. And typically it actually will list their offices and how to get there and any information you need about contacting them. So anytime I have an issue or I want to contact my professor, I go right to the syllabus, and I've never had an issue finding out how to get to them.
All right, awesome. We're going to switch over to a little bit of student life now. So those of you that lived in the residence hall, what was your favorite thing about living in the residence hall?
That would be me.
You're the only one? Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to skip over to Liz.
Well, my favorite thing about living in the residence hall is just kind of that sense of community you get from it. Instead of just being someone who's living in this room, you really feel part of a group of students. So it's sounds so cheesy, but like a family. You really do get connected with every person you live with, and if you might not know every single person, you'll be like, I can recognize their face. So I guess having that sense of home away from home is really something I liked about it.
Okay, so to go along with that, what is the one thing you had in your residence hall that you don't think a student can live without? What do they absolutely need to bring?
Oh, okay.
You probably can think like deodorant.
I can think of a lot of stuff, but I think something that...
Maybe more than one thing. You can name a few things.
Overall, organizational stuff, because I have a lot of stuff, even down when you bring it down to the bare minimum. it's a lot of stuff. So I would recommend getting, the underbed storage. There are some in-closet storage that fits. Students will get really clever. I've seen some clever things in the bathroom where you can actually like build a little shelf that goes over like your toilet area, so you have some extra shelving units there. You can get really creative, so I would really recommend just kind of using the space to your advantage.
Okay, great, thank you, Liz. So what did you bring to campus that you thought you needed but you really could have just left at home?
I brought this filing cabinet. It's like this 2-drawer filing cabinet because I thought I was going to do so much filing. I don't know what I was thinking, but I didn't need that one, so don't bring your filing cabinet.
So you need organizational stuff, but not too much.
Not too much. Don't go overboard.
What was the hardest aspect of living on campus for you?
I guess the hardest aspect of living on campus is your roommate. And when I say that, it's kind of a love-hate relationship because, I've had great roommate experiences. I don't think I've had anything terrible happen. You hear horror stories and everyone's fearful of that roommate who never showers or, crazy things like that. I've never had any experience like that, but it's still a new experience sharing such a close quarters with another person, and especially not someone that you've grown up your whole life with, like a brother or sister. So kind of coping with that aspect, and on top of the fact that you miss your family and you're away from home, dealing with all those different emotions, that's definitely the toughest part. But it's part of growing up, and if you just kind of take time to get to know that person and really build connections here on campus, and also take, some weekends to go home and visit family and, call mom and dad every once in a while. They definitely will miss hearing your voice. Give them a call. That will help, with the homesickness and coping with being here on campus.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so all of you can kind of tag on to this one. How often do you go home? And I know you guys didn't live in the residence halls, but now you live up in probably away from your parents. And how often do you go home to visit them?
Well, I commuted my first couple years, so I went home every day. But then after I did move to Big Rapids, I'm really close with my family, so it was really hard for me to actually move away from them. So I went home probably every weekend, if not every other weekend. But my situation is different than most people because I only live half an hour away. Mm-hmm. So it's only half an hour to go do my laundry at home, or half an hour to go get a home cooked meal. So I went every weekend or every other weekend, but that's not like every situation normally.
Yeah, so you live a little bit farther away, so how often do you find yourself going home?
Yeah, I have a really unique situation. My parents live in Las Vegas, so I only go home once a year, once every 6 months, but I do still go home to visit my grandma, my aunts, my uncles, my little brother. I probably go home once every 3 or 4 months, and it's only because I'm so busy. I could make more time, it's just that they understand I'm working, they're working, so every time I get a little bit homesick, I'll plan a weekend where I'm just like, hey, I'm coming home, so once every 3 or 4 months.
Yeah, I'm very similar to Bailey's situation. My parents don't live in Vegas, but I'm about 3.5 hours away, 4 hours, depending on how you drive from here. So it is far, and I don't have a car. I've never had a car, so it's tough sometimes to get home. And like Bailey said, I could make more time, but being so busy, and there's always something to do on the weekend. So, whether it's a community service event or a concert or a comedian coming, there's always stuff to do. Half the time I'm helping plan it or organize it or work with it, so it's kind of hard to find time every once in a while, but I'd say 2 to 3 months, every 2 to 3 months I'll try and go home. And in the summer, if I have some time, if I'm not taking classes, I'll go home for the summer as well.
Okay, so you mentioned you didn't have a car on campus. What about you? Both had a car?
Yep.
Okay, so do you feel that you really need a car on campus?
I don't think you really need a car on campus. Even from one end of campus to the other, it might take you 20 minutes to walk the whole thing. And when I've commuted, I drove my car to campus, but I never moved my car the rest of the day. I just walked from class to class. So for the most part, you're just going to drive to campus, and then it's going to sit there. And then you're going to just walk to class, or if you need to go down to Meyer, which is just like a couple miles away, then you'll drive your car there maybe. But I would say it's not necessary to have one if you're just going to class and everything. But if you want to make other trips, then you might want a car.
If I were to make a personal recommendation, as a freshman living in the residence halls, I would leave my car at home, only because everything is so close. Like Nicole said, it takes maybe 20 minutes to walk anywhere. The parking pass itself is about $100, so that's $100, and then you're gonna have more money with gas and things, so I almost just feel like it's a hassle. There's so many other people who will have cars as well that you'll be able to make friends with, and if your roommate has one, you guys can go shopping together, do whatever. I know plenty of people whose friends let them borrow their cars, things like that, so to be honest, I feel like freshman year, it's almost pointless.
Yeah, I mean, 4 years gone and I still don't have a car. So I feel like I'm like living proof that you really don't need one. I mean, there are so many resources to find rides, places. It's almost obnoxious. I mean, I can get the shuttle bus from campus over to the other eatery on campus and then down to the bookstore and back. So even if I need to go across campus or go to even Save-A-Lot, I can take the shuttle if I want. Also, there's Dial-A-Ride, which is $2 a ride, so it's really not expensive. I can get a ride from a friend to work and then take Dial-A-Ride home for $2. So that's not bad at all. Like I said, I live 3.5 hours away. I know everyone's probably wondering, how do you get there? It's really simple, actually. You can either take the Greyhound bus, which comes right to campus. You just go down there. You actually get a student discount as well. And you can take Indian Trails down to Grand Rapids, that'll connect you anywhere you want to go. So it's really easy. Or what I've started doing now that I've turned 21 is that you're able to rent a car when you're 21 at the Enterprise here in town. So if ever there's an emergency where I need to get home immediately, I just go down to the Enterprise and I'd rent a car and I just drive home. So it's really simple, and there's also things online that you can get rides from. So we have a classified section up on your MyFSU page. In my freshman and sophomore year, I used that constantly. Anytime I wanted to go home, I just found a ride there because, I mean, it's other students, so it's only accessible by Ferris students. And it's really great because you're helping them with their gas money to get home, and you're also getting a ride home. So it's a really nice relationship where everybody gets a ride home and it's cheaper for everyone. So I use that a lot. I would definitely recommend that. And like Bailey said, you'll have friends here who can take you up to Walmart real quick or down to the bank. And there's tons of ways that you can get around, and I've used them all. So it's really, really easy. I've never had an issue.
Okay, awesome. So we're gonna transition a little bit and kind of talk about dealing with homesickness when you can't go home. How do you guys deal with that?
I mean, just a simple call home can help you, like just hearing like your mom or dad's voice, or I'll talk to my sister sometimes, just like simply calling them. Or my dad's really tech savvy, so he likes to text a lot, and he can even use emoticons. So my dad and I text frequently. Yeah, he's like a nerd. So I would just say, just like that simple call home, just hearing your parents' voice, or Skyping, stuff like that, that can really solve your homesickness.
If anything, you might not know this if you haven't taken a tour of Ferris yet, but the residence halls have little kitchenettes, and if there's something at home that your mom makes for dinner, or your dad makes, or whoever it is, it's kind of nice to maybe grab a friend or something, run to Walmart, Kmart, wherever in town, and pick up those ingredients and make a nice home-cooked meal that reminds you of home, eat them with friends, throw on the TV, whatever it might be. So that way you've got a little piece of home, and then your friends are missing home too, so it's nice to have them here to lean on as well.
I'm such a little sap. What I did is before I left, I made a little scrapbook of my friends and my family, just everything that I could possibly think of, and I put it in my scrapbook. So like whenever I would get homesick, I would just take a look at that scrapbook, and after about 5 or 10 minutes, I felt fine. I was like, oh, okay, that was fun. I reminisced, and it was a good way to kind of like remember being at home and kind of see some of those things that I'm familiar to. Apart from that, events on campus, it sounds weird, but that's a great way to kind of get over some homesickness. Like, I was feeling really, really homesick in April, but I went to the international festival that we had here, and that really helped because my family's really cultural, and we have a lot of cultural food there, so it kind of reminded me of home, seeing all the different cultures and being able to eat their food. So, I mean, different things you can do to get over homesickness.
Okay, so let's talk about your roommate. How did you pick your roommate in the residence hall? So, Liz?
Well, my freshman and my sophomore year, I went in blind. So I just let the university pick for me. And then it worked out really nicely. My sophomore year was a little bit different because I picked my room, and I thought I was going to have, I picked it with a group of friends, but for other reasons, they kind of switched to different halls. Some of them moved off campus. So it was just me in the room again, and the university put people in there again for me. both of those experiences have been great. I mean, I still talk to all of my previous roommates. We have a great relationship. It's been a lot of fun. I mean, we'll make popcorn at 3 in the morning and watch a movie. I mean, I still have great memories with them. The one year that I did pick my roommates, it was interesting. That was my junior year. Definitely had a little bit more hiccups along the road because I think when you have previous relationships, it can kind of become an issue for some people. Other people, no problem at all, but that was just my experience. But yeah.
So what are the things you guys have all probably had a roommate.
Right.
So how do you deal with a roommate in a tricky situation?
I would say you just need to be direct. I mean, don't be mean or anything, but just be direct. Say, hey, I don't really like that you're doing this, or let's do it this way. Like, just actually talk to your roommate. Don't just like let things build up until you just can't stand it anymore. Just go and talk to them, have a simple conversation, because there's probably things that you do that they don't really like, so you guys can just all talk it out right at first, and then that way you have like your foundation laid, and hopefully you won't have any more problems.
When you first move in, if it's somebody that you don't know very well, even if it's someone that you do, I would kind of set some guidelines like, hey, at this time to this time I'm probably going to be studying, or I don't want loud music playing past this time at night, whatever it might be, just so that way you can try and avoid them in the first place. But if they do arise, if you're both easily approachable about it and you don't let it build, like Nicole said, then it should be able to be easily resolved. And the nice thing is, if for whatever reason you can't get it resolved, one of the two of you can be reassigned, and it's not a bad thing at all. It's just, hey, it didn't work out, so housing can get you figured out with that as well. It's not a problem to relocate, and if it's going to make everything easier and less stress on the both of you, then if that's what you need to do, you can go ahead and do that.
Yeah. Like when you first move into the residence halls, or even our on-campus apartments, you are given a roommate agreement and a suite mate agreement. So it's a form that everyone fills out. You fill it out together, and everything on that form you all have to agree on. And it goes through everything that you could possibly think of, things that you probably didn't even think of in the first place. So it'll ask you, if you wake up early, if you go to sleep early, do you like the room warm or cold, or do you like it music playing loudly when you study, do you like it quiet, just everything. And that really helps. I find that very helpful because you don't have to guess. You don't have to think like, oh, what questions do I need to ask at the beginning? It lays it all right there out for you. And if you ever have a problem, that's what your resident advisor or RA will refer back to, because it's a contract, it's a signed contract that you both agreed upon. So if you agreed that you were going to clean the bathroom every other week, and your roommate says, you're not cleaning the bathroom, you haven't cleaned it once, it's April, what's going on? You can talk to your roommate, about it in a way that says, hey, you said that you would agree to this. It's right here in black and white. There's no argument over it. So you don't have to fight. It's right there for you. Your RA will take that, and if there are any problems escalating from there, they'll go through the different steps to kind of mediate things, and they're trained in all of those different areas. So they're trained in mediation and conflict resolution, so they know exactly how to help you guys through the situation. And like Bailey said, if it does escalate, if it's something that it's just you guys aren't going to work out together, it's not a problem. They can easily switch you, and there's nothing bad about it. It's just like she said, it doesn't work out. So there are lots of steps in place that will help you through roommate conflicts.
Okay, great. Let's go away from housing a little bit and talk about getting involved. What organizations did the three of you get involved in, and how did you go about getting involved in those?
The organizations that I got involved in was Pre-Optometry Club. I'm part of Greek Life. I'm in Delta Zeta, and then my last one is the National Society for Collegiate Scholars. And then along with Greek Life, I'm also a part of Pan-Hellenic Council. So for Pre-Optometry Club, I knew there was a club. On your MyFSU account, there's a really handy portal called OrgSync, and that's got a list of all the organizations. That's where you can get a whole bunch of information about each organization, so you can kind of search for something that you want. So that's where I found out how to join the Pre-Optometry Club and go to my first meeting. For Greek Life, there's recruitment in the fall and then in the spring. So if you're just watching like the message boards and stuff for that, then you can go and attend those events. Greek Life is something really great. And then because I was part of Delta Zeta, that's how I got involved with the Pan-Hellenic Council. And then the National Society for Collegiate Scholars is something that you need to be invited to. So it's something I got invited to my sophomore year, and you have to pay a membership fee, and then they have meetings as well. But basically all the organizations, you can find information about like who the president of the organization are, who the campus advisors are, like when they meet, all kinds of stuff. You can find that all on your MyFSU account through that portal called OrgSync.
When I first came to FSU, I joined ad group. Basically, when I first came here, I was in marketing major, and if your professors, 9 times out of 10, one of the professors within the program is actually going to be an advisor for that. So one of my professors kept stressing how much he wanted all of us to be in ad group and how he wouldn't write us a letter of recommendation unless we were in ad group. So we all kind of took it upon ourselves to join. It was a really good experience. I met a ton of people. I ended up switching majors, but I'm still very close with all those people, still keep in contact with them. And then as Nicole said, for joining Alpha Sigma Tau, I went to sorority recruitment in the fall. You basically just go through and walk through the rooms and meet all the people that you want and make your decision based on that. So that's how I met, or that's how I got involved on campus.
The first organization I joined here on campus was Entertainment Unlimited. It's our campus programming board here. It's a really great experience. I just heard about it through a friend and I wanted to join, but the meeting times didn't fit my schedule. So the very next semester I jumped on it and I jumped in and I got really involved. So that was a lot of fun, had a lot of great experiences there. I also joined an organization. It was at the time called Succeeding Women, but it was an interest group for a sorority. And so since it's become a sorority, we brought it here to our campus. We have different chapters across the nation, but our group is the first group here at Ferris. So we're all part of Greek Life and we're all a part of Pan-Hellenic, but my organization is Sigma Lambda Gamma. So I just joined that by meeting up with the girls. I met them. I joined the interest group, which we just did a lot of community service. We did some recruitment. And we do ours a little bit differently than the Pan-Hellenic groups, but basically you'll just come to our recruitment events, which could be like a philanthropy event, or it could be just be like a chance to hang out with the girls watching a movie, and you just introduce yourselves and we'll get your information, and then from there you just kind of keep in contact with us, and that's how we recruit. So it's a little bit different than how they join their organizations, but there's still lots of opportunities to get involved. Another thing that I did was to become part of the group here that puts on the it's an annual presentation, and it's for Shakespeare's birthday. It's called Shakespeare Fest, and they're throughout all of the camp, like lots of campuses have them. I think there's about 100 campuses in the area that have them. So I did that as well, and also I got a job. So that's another way to get involved here because I have an on-campus job. So great ways to get involved on campus.
Okay, great. So you guys all mentioned Greek life, so let's elaborate a little bit more on your specific Greek sorority and what your philanthropy is, or anything else you want to that's kind of unique about it.
Okay, I'm a part of Delta Zeta. Our philanthropy is speech and hearing. So there's the Starkey Hearing Foundation, Gallaudet University. There's also the Painted Turtle Camp, which is a camp for kids that are chronically ill. They can go and actually have a summer camp experience where they get to experience it like a normal kid, not like a sick kid. Let's see, what else do you want to know about our Greek
I know there are. That's probably pretty good. What about yours? Let's just hear the differences amongst them.
My sorority is Alpha Sigma Tau. We have, like Nicole said, there's a couple different philanthropies for most sororities. Most have a local and then a national as well. So our national philanthropy is Pine Mountain Settlement School in Harlan County, Kentucky. And then our local, we do Habitat for Humanity. We have a resale store here just outside of town, so a lot of the girls will volunteer their time and go work there, building whatever they might. We buy and sell furniture there as well. So, and then when they have houses that they need built, we go out there and put the houses up.
My organization is Sigma Lambda Gamma. We're a historically Latina-based sorority, and we're now becoming multicultural, so we're really excited about that. Our philanthropies are breast cancer awareness, and we also participate in the TRIO Scholar Program, so that just helps it's an outreach program for education in different low-income areas. Apart from that, around campus, so we don't have an official local philanthropy yet because we are still a colony. So we're gonna hopefully soon become a chapter here at Ferris, but we're hoping to make our local philanthropy something along the lines of women's health and women's empowerment. So we want to work closely with the WISE program here as well as Project Starburst. So really excited about that.
Good. So you guys all do volunteering probably through the Greek Life. How easy is it to find volunteer opportunities on campus outside of Greek Life?
It's really easy. I mean, with every organization I'm involved in, there's events that we put on, there's like organizations we're affiliated with, there's all kinds of community service stuff. Plus there'll be postings on, again, your MyFSU account about like community service opportunities. So as long as like you're checking your emails and checking those postings and you're involved with a couple organizations, there's plenty of volunteer hours.
I know I spend a lot of time in the business building just because I am a business major, and there are constantly flyers everywhere, turn up the good, the big event, whatever it might be, things like that. And usually at the bottom of those posters, there's a contact. If you're interested in getting involved with it, if you just call that contact, they'll be able to put you in touch with somebody who can further assist you, as well as we have the Office of Multicultural Student Services here on campus in the library, and if you're looking for volunteer opportunities, they constantly have them.
Yeah, it's really easy to find out about volunteer opportunities. They actually will email them to all of the students, so there are like campus-wide emails that go out about volunteer opportunities. So you can just click on that, get the information. I mean, it's even as simple as just replying to the email and saying, I want to help, or if you needed more guidance, or if you just wanted a ton of volunteer opportunities, you could actually go to our CLACS office, which is the Center for Leadership Activities and Student Services. They actually, and Career Services. They actually have a volunteer center located in their office, so you can go there and get more information about volunteer opportunities. And I think they even have it separated by what you'd be doing. So if you're like, hey, I love animals, let me find out more, they'll give you all the opportunities that you can work with animals and volunteer. So it's pretty cool.
Good. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what we do outside of school and homework. Takes up a big chunk, but there is a little bit of fun that goes on. So what do you do on campus for fun, off campus for fun? What do you do on the weekends? Where do you shop? That kind of thing.
Okay, on campus for fun, I love intramural sports. I was a big athlete in high school. I did 3 varsity sports. So coming to college, I really missed like that competitive aspect. So I participate in pretty much every intramural sport that I think I won't make a fool out of myself doing. So I would say intramural sports are my biggest excitement on campus. As for off campus, just kind of hanging out with friends, whether like you make dinner or watch a movie on Netflix or whatever it may be. That's probably my biggest fun off campus, which doesn't sound too exciting, but when you're stressed out because you have a big exam, chilling out with a friend afterwards is just kind of nice.
On campus, I usually go to the sporting events or something, like a football game or a basketball game, whatever it might be. Off campus, I'll usually be hanging out with my sisters, or we'll go over to one of the fraternity houses and play horseshoes in the yard or whatever it might be. There's also a place in town called The Gate. They have bowling. They've got like pool tables and things there, so you can go up there and play around and have some fun.
On campus, I go to as many on-campus events as I can. I mean, there's so much that goes on. So they have like comedians come in, they'll have speakers come in that might talk about a topic you're interested in. Even the departments will put on events too. So like there might be like a department that's putting on an event specifically for something like, for example, I think there was one about a movie series. So they came in and brought in a movie series each week, and it was about like one specific topic. So you can go and watch a movie and kind of like eat some free pizza and hang out for like 4 weeks in a row. They had it. So like stuff like that. I like to go to things like that on campus. Off campus, I like to go over to, it's actually I don't know, I like eating food, so I like going to the food locations off campus. My favorite, I think, is Gypsy Nickel. They have really good food and huge portions, so I just love going there and just eating everything I can, and their dessert is like the best, so
Yeah.
food is big for me.
I know.
Thank you guys. So they talked a lot about on-campus and off-campus stuff. We like to say we're within an hour of just about anything you could want to do. I mean, skiing and snowboarding, there are malls within an hour. We're also probably only an hour from Lake Michigan, so really anything that you could want to do, you can do here within an hour of travel. So, all right, let's talk about your jobs. Should you get a job on campus, off campus? How did you go about getting your job? What other kinds of jobs are available here on campus?
Okay. I would really recommend trying to get a job on campus just because your employers, they cannot schedule you when you have class. Like, it's against the rules. Where off campus, they might not be as understanding about like your class schedule, where on campus, your employers understand that you are a student first, you are an employee second. So as for getting a job, there's job postings that you can access from our website. For fall, I think they're available August 1st, so you can go on there and they'll have all the different jobs on campus that you can apply for. It's just as simple as filling out the application and maybe sending your resume in, and then they'll call you for an interview or something like that. When I first came as a freshman, I had a job in less than a month of getting here. I had 2 actually. I applied to 10 places, got 5 interviews, and got 2 jobs. So it's really not that hard. You just have to actually go out and apply for those. What was the other part? Well, a lot of things.
No, just what other kinds of jobs are available on campus besides what you did?
We kind of have like a clerical job where you're also tour guides on campus. So if you ever visit Ferris, you'll see one of our faces, hopefully. But there's jobs that at the physical plant where they do like groundskeeping. You can have a job at the rec center where you're like manning the desk or like refereeing. Basically, almost every department on campus, I would say, has at least like a couple student workers. Even like our dining facilities, those are mostly employed by students. Can you think of anything else to add?
Well, I mean, like, I work, apart from this job that I do, I also work with housing. I'm a suite advisor, so it's kind of like a resident advisor. So even if you work in the res halls, it's a great place to work because it's right downstairs. You don't really have to go anywhere else. And even if you don't want to be the RA or the suite advisor or the resident advisor, you can also work just the desk. So you can be a desk service assistant and you can help people, get their mail or give them, anything that they need behind the desk. You can sign their packages out, things like that, which, I mean, it's a great way to meet new people and you get paid for it. So you might as well hang out with your friends and help them out.
I know that when I first got here, I had 2 jobs and they were both off campus. And I really liked both of them. One of them was at a restaurant, so obviously I had that money right in my pocket at the end of the night, which I really enjoyed. But sometimes the hours with my schedule just were way too much for me. Obviously, we're here for school first. And like Nicole said, having a job on campus, they really, really, really work around your school schedule, homework schedule, whatever that may be. And like this job, I'm fortunate enough to have the weekends off. Not all jobs are going to be like that, but if you look on campus, it's much more likely that that'll happen for you. So you have more time to study, and you don't have to be cramming and studying for 8 hours like we mentioned earlier.
Okay, awesome. So moving on, a little bit about study abroad. If any of you have personal experiences with it or what you know about it, feel free to share that with us.
Well, I haven't gone yet. I'm planning on studying abroad next summer and going to Italy for one of the programs. And one thing that I was really kind of surprised about and liked was that when I went into the Office of International Education, they were really helpful in finding me a program that would work for me because there weren't any currently specifically for my major. So they didn't have any laid out, okay, this trip is for, healthcare system administration. They had some for like business majors and things like that, but they didn't have one specifically for me. So the one I did find that was closely related was for philosophy, and that's my minor. And they helped me and they worked with me and they actually tailored the program to me. And I liked that because, I didn't need the credits that they were offering it for, but they went ahead and switched it for me so that I would have benefit by going. So I think that that's really awesome. If you ever had questions, they're always welcoming and open, and I really like that about our office, and they're very helpful with the study abroad. So,
anything to add?
One thing I'd like to mention is we do have a sister school on every continent except for Antarctica. So Antarctica is really cold. Michigan's already cold enough. I don't know why you want to go there anyway. But so you could basically go anywhere. And like Liz said, they're really helpful about setting up a program. So maybe if they do have a program for your major, but it's not where you want to go, they'll help you set something up for where you want to go.
Definitely, yes, I'm a huge advocate for study abroad. Only about 3% of students study abroad, so Ferris has really pushed it in the last few years to get more students to do that. We are on our last question, so thanks for bearing with us. But the last question that we have for the students is, if you could go back in time and do one thing differently here at Ferris, what would you do differently?
Have a planner right from the get-go. I mean, I have one now, but it would have been helpful.
Cannot stress that enough.
It would have been
Cannot stress
helpful
that enough.
if I would have had that from the beginning, because you'll have so many things going on, not only with your classes, but if you do get involved with organizations or even a job, you'll have so many things going on. You really do need to write it down, because personally, I can't remember everything that I need to do, so it's nice to just remember everything that you need to do. So when I get a planner at the beginning of the semester and after I've gone to all of my classes for the first time, your teacher usually gives you like a schedule of the semester. I write down when all of my tests are, so that way I don't have any surprises and I need to stay up all night the night before to study for a test that I forgot about. So just having a planner and actually using it.
I would say stay on top of things. If there's people that you should always be in contact with, like your advisor or whomever it may be, make sure you're doing that. You know, you can't schedule classes without them. If there's friends that you feel like you've been neglecting and you know about it, make sure you stay in contact with them. It's all about connections. College is all about connections. I cannot stress that enough. I've seen so many people get internships through friends, through professors, advisors, whoever it may be. Just stay on top of things and make sure that you're reaching out and staying in contact with the people that you should be.
I guess one big word of advice would just be to be proactive. I mean, nothing gets done without your effort. So if there's something that you always want to do, like let's say you always wanted to learn a language, well, take the effort to learn that language. Now is the time to do that, and be, just be open to new experiences, because that's what this is about. You want to come here and grow as a person. So definitely take the time to do that. I mean, even though, maybe going to that business presentation, it's not for your major, but maybe you should go learn something new, experience some new things. So just being really open and proactive and enjoying everything that college, whether Ferris or elsewhere, has to offer you.
Okay, thank you very much, guys. That was our last question. We'll leave this slide up for a couple of seconds. It just has some information about how to get a hold of us, like I said in the beginning. We're really thankful that you guys were here and watched this. So if you have any questions, feel free to contact us through the links on or the phone number on that slide. I said a few seconds, right?